right. Here
All
we
right.
are.
All right. We always spend, this always happens. One of either George or my phone don't want to get the show on the phone, because we got the laptops that we see everything on. But we're on. I see we got Ken, we got Linda, we got Donald on
I
already.
I see Donald. I got to refresh because I don't see the other ones.
Oh, and there's Alejandro.
Alejandro, what's up?
Alejandro, he's got his man. He's got his belly hoop. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he came up and picked it up.
Yep. He came all the way from Miami to pick it up. And yeah. Good afternoon. Good evening, you too, Linda.
Hey, Linda, how you doing?
Everybody else that's hey, did anybody see the eclipse? I never saw it. It never got dark around here.
Well, the path that we were in, it was only like a 55% path. So it was only supposed to dim us. You had to be more towards the center of the United States to see the full eclipse.
Well, it didn't dim much over here, I'll tell you that.
No, I didn't notice nothing.
That's right.
I was outside mowing the lawn when it happened, and I forgot all about it.
Well, we're all kind of mowing the lawn and doing a lot of honeydews because this weather, man, is kind of drowning a lot of people.
Yeah.
I noticed that, like we're going to get Scott Rose, we need to get Michael Dawson, and some of those guys because they're just not going out. I mean,
right.
You've been getting out a little bit and you're fishing right up against the mangroves, but a lot of these guys have to run across the bay or a lot of open water that they're just not going out.
Yeah. No, I've been going out a lot, but it hasn't been fun.
No. But I think things are going to change.
Yeah. Barbara said, they said that Tampa Bay won't have a full eclipse until 2045.
I don't think I'll see that one.
Maybe
I will. Hey,
I don't know.
Hey, I might be around, but I might be too blind, so I won't be able to see it anyway.
It won't matter. You can look straight at it.
That's right. I can look at it then and say, "Oh, look at that! It looked like it got a little darker."
Yeah. I thought, at first when I thought we were going to get it here, like to where we could actually see the thing, I thought, well, why can't you just use your phone to view it so you don't look at it? And what I read was that it can actually mess up the lens on your phone.
It will. Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
It can burn the iris up on your phone, and then you got to.
But when I don't know what grade I was in. I was young, like maybe fourth or fifth grade. Whenever we had a eclipse way back then, and it was
that was in 1952, wasn't it? When they had.
I don't think I was born in that one, but so we had a class project for that day, and every kid brought in a shoebox, and you made the little shoebox with the pinhole so you could actually watch the eclipse inside the box.
Yeah,
and it was pretty cool.
But yeah.
Now,
that's just I got an alarm when somebody comes up the driveway.
I thought that was the fish alarm going off.
No. I got an 85-foot driveway.
Right.
So I got an alarm that when it gets triggered once you come in 10 feet inside the driveway, it lets me know somebody's coming up.
Gives you time to cock the gun.
Yeah, get ready for them, But George, the thing is, I was looking at the news today because I don't like to watch the news. It's depressing.
Me neither.
And anyway, half of it is lies, or more than half of it, and then it's so depressing. But I did watch the weatherman today, and he was talking about how it's up. It's going to be maybe close to the 90s a few days, back down in the 60s, and then back up to 80 something.
Yep.
Can you imagine being a fish in the water? You don't know what's going on.
Oh no, it's definitely shuffling the cards. I mean, we're all out there having to work a lot to get the fish.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough on the angler, but it's even tougher on the fish because they can't make up their mind because they don't know what's going on. And then all this wind doesn't help any. And how was the water? Was it murky yesterday?
Yeah, it was pretty murky. Some areas were a little cleaner that were tucked away, but a lot of areas that were crystal clear now you can't see the bottom.
Yeah.
But we did good. I mean, we caught a good amount of fish and a variety. Not yesterday, but the day before, we caught 10 different species. So that was pretty fun.
I figured that it'd be tough. I'm hoping it doesn't mess up the mango snapper bite this year because if the water's, mango snapper don't like dirty water.
Yeah.
And if it stays real murky for quite a while, we might run into a problem, So I hope not.
Yeah. We did get a first wave of kingfish into the bay this week.
Inside the bay?
Skyway area.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And there was some big ones caught, 38, 35, 40 pounders.
Beautiful. Great.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to get a heads up and say thank you to Mike Mahoney. I had a little visit with him the other day, about the kids' camp fishing clinic coming up June 15th.
Right.
And yeah, he's committed. He's going to supply all the hooks for the kids, about 500 and something hooks, and he's going to supply the floats for all the kids for their little tackle box.
Yep.
And Okuma is giving us their $90 rod and reel for about $18 and something. And we're getting a tackle box from them. So we're slowly getting there. I've got Loadmaster Trailer, Schaefer, Cracker Boy, Stadium Toyota, Vendex, one of my clients. They're all donating money towards the food to pay for the food for all the kids. And hopefully Mayor Jane Castor is working on getting me the difference in a grant to make sure all this can happen. So we're also still looking for volunteers, any captains that want to volunteer June 15th, and any other volunteer. We could really use you June 15th at Picnic Island Park to help with all the kids. And we are going to keep it to 110 kids. So it's very manageable. CCA has already made a commitment to be there. FWC will be there. I know the Tampa Police Department, the dive team, they're all going to be there.
Right.
So
yeah, and they were great last year too.
Oh, those policemen and everybody, all the volunteers went out of their way to make sure that the kids had a super, super nice day.
Right. Jim Pace is saying, you see the Skyway Kings caught? Yeah, Jay and them guys out there on the Skyway piers have been doing a number on them. It was kind of a first wave that came through the bridge area. So, there's some more coming from the south right now is what we're hearing. So they're moving north. They're coming up the coast.
Well, if this weather gets as hot as it says it's going to get, I think it'll more than make up for the cooler nights. If it's going to get up to the, say, high 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So
I noticed too, because of, these cooler mornings, we had 3 mornings in a row that were cooler. Of course, the water temperature dropped because for a little while there, we were getting hot too fast. We were touching some like high, like I had a couple of days that had like 78-degree water, and yesterday I had 72.5.
Jesus, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
and and that's what hurts everything when you have a major drop like that.
Jim says he caught some 19-inch sheepshead and nice mangroves off anklet and rock piles about 20 feet. Yeah, I was fishing some rock piles in the bay in about 15, 16 feet of water, and we were getting some mangrove snapper and black sea bass, so that was nice.
Like I said, the mangrove snapper usually by the end of this month are in pretty good.
Yeah,
but unless real cold weather hits, that keeps them out until it warms up. But maybe this high temperature will make up for some of the cooler nights and get the water. We need a water temperature around 80. Would be ideal.
Yeah, I just don't want it to go there fast.
No.
Because when you get in those nice middle 70 temperatures, that's just a magic number for a little bit of everything. And your bait still stays great in the live well.
And of course, it's hard to tell if we got a bunch of mackerel in the bay or not because you can't get out to the middle of the bay.
Oh, I know. I got lucky. Couple of days, it laid down in the middle of the day just for maybe an hour to where it flattened out and you could get out. And maybe an hour and a half, and then sure enough, it started kicking up, and it's such a ramp. It really ramps up really quick. So,
oh yeah. Have you noticed the pattern? Every morning I get up
up here,
and first thing in the morning around my house, it's calm.
Oh, I got the opposite.
Okay, around Wesley Chapel, 8 in the morning, it's almost calm. My wife said this morning, we were taking my granddaughter to daycare. Said, look at this, you could have gone out. And by the time we left daycare, on the way back home, the flag at Furman Dodge was standing straight.
Yeah,
that's a big flag. In a matter of 30 minutes, it went from light winds to strong winds.
Yeah, And that's how it was the other day. I took advantage. I went out to the middle of the bay. We fished. We caught some nice fish. But like you're saying, it's only taking about a half an hour, and it's going from 7 miles an hour right up to 15 and gusting to 20.
But one thing I've learned, listen, I go by Windy and all the, but the TV stations, I think they have a pattern. Everyone 10 to 15. I'm saying, how can it be 10 to 15? Everybody else is saying it's going to be 15 to 30, and you're saying 10 to 15.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you, oh, it's 10. It's only about 10. And I'm looking at the trees in my backyard and it's blowing about 20.
Yeah.
I think it's a happy medium for them to say 10 to 15. You know,
Well,
I mean, let's think about it. It's 10 to 15. If it goes over 15 a little bit by 10 miles an hour,
oh, yeah.
who cares? Right.
But I'll tell you, some of the patterns on some of these apps, they've been missing it by 5 to 7 miles an hour to where it's 5 to 7 miles an hour or worse. Because like the other morning when I got out there, it was supposed to be 5 to 7, and it was blowing 14 to 15, gusting to like 17. And it was just like, God, it's like twice what you guys said. And then like you're saying, the news channels, it's funny. If you go online to some of them, I want to take the news people out. There's 3 days in a row that they said breezy, not wind, because they have categories, calm, breezy, windy, when it's going to be really windy. They labeled Wednesday and Thursday breezy. Thursday's got gusts to 40 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, no, the Channel 8 today was saying that breezy tomorrow and Wednesday.
I want to take them out.
Be breezy.
Yeah, I want to take them out in the boat when they say breezy. And Thursday is the worst I've ever seen them do it. Normally, if they say breezy, I've had days that are like 15, 20. But come on, they're with what's moving in Thursday, they're saying, 20 to 25 mile an hour winds gusting as high as 40, and they're still calling it breezy on the news channel.
Like I said, we need to take them out and say, hey, this is your breezy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to take them out when they say that.
And Pam, you forgot to send in your report.
You slacker.
Yeah, you're slacking on the job. Hey, that happens once in a while. It comes with age, Pam. Nothing personal. It happens with age. Start to forget.
Did you
and
see
I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
Okay. Who are you talking to? Just kidding. Did you see Barbara's comment above that one?
Yep. My wrist, at least I got, the doctor said today that no fractures, no broken bones, just a bad sprain, and I'll get over it. But boy, did it hurt for a couple of days. All right, let's see. Left boat ramp last night and light weren't working. Corrosion unplugged to the truck, cleaned and added grease. All right.
Well, that's funny you should say that, because tonight, actually, I just put some dielectric grease on my plug myself just to keep up with it.
Wow. And look at that. How does it feel to go into the Lion's Den, as you called it, and come out second place for the Panhandle Division? Fantastic, Pam. Also look at your second place, Tanahatchee, fourth place, Panama, and fifth place. Never finished out of the top 5 for events. Oh, that's great. That's beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, Pam, we know you always do a good job on those tournaments. You're all over the place.
She's dedicated. She's a dedicated angler. And that's what you got to be. To fish tournaments and be good at it, you got to be dedicated. You got to focus on that. If you focus on other stuff, you're never going to be really good at it. So congratulations, Pam.
Yep.
You are super. Super. And she watches our show. That makes it even better. So
yes.
Thank you.
And all you guys that share the show, we appreciate that too.
Yeah, because that helps. And by the way, we want to thank you. We're sitting, as of about an hour ago, at 16,251 subscribers. Woo! We're on our way to 17.
Yep, I got 20 in mind. It's coming pretty quick.
Yep. I think
it's coming pretty quick.
So Pam, I hope you did send pictures in. We'll show it next week from your tournament. Okay.
And that's funny that I was just getting ready to make a comment that trout are starting to come back in a lot of areas. And Joe, just as I was getting ready to say it, he said caught a bunch of trout in Fort DeSoto area on Saturday. 19.5 was the biggest. And nice live bait on the flats with a little chum. Artificial swim baits worked well. Nice, Pam. 16,000. Can't complain about that.
Thank you very much. And Scott Paul.
He's one of my clients.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I just took him out recently. We did nice. We caught snook and redfish. 84% in Green Bay. 84%. Oh, for your for the moon or the sun, lunar.
Okay.
The eclipse, I guess.
Yeah, we got maybe.
Yeah,
5.
we only got 50. We were supposed to be like 50, 55%, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
And it wasn't cloudy. It was a beautiful blue sky here. So.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. But it is. It's actually the trout have been down there at Fort DeSoto for about a month now, and it's just good to hear that they're still there. And good job, Joe. Glad you got.
They left for a while. Those trout were gone for a while.
Yeah, well, everything was gone down there. That red tide destroyed Fort DeSoto. That one that we had, the bad one. But yeah, things are coming back. You can actually go target trout down at Fort DeSoto right now with no problem, actually. So that's kind of good to hear that they're still there.
That's good.
And they're decent. The ones that have been being caught down there, the smaller ones are still 15 inches on the smaller ones, but there's been some 21s being caught down there.
Hello, Bucky. Thanks for watching, man.
Bucky.
Yes, sir. I hope your shoulder's better now.
Yeah, he must be doing better. I see he got some fishing reports. So unless he's buying bait, I don't know, but I know he was throwing the net, last week.
And I heard from the bait guys that they're going to have bait this Friday for the tournament. Thank God.
I'm surprised about that.
I mean, they said they are.
I don't know how that's going to happen.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but it said they're going to have bait. So.
Yeah, well, that'll be a phone call on a Thursday night to see if they're really going to have it, because Thursday's going to be brutal out there.
I know Thursday's going to be the worst day.
It is.
It's going to be up to 40 knot blowing.
Yeah,
40.
Yeah, I had that charter on Thursday, and I actually switched him to Wednesday. We're going Wednesday now.
I was able to change my charter tomorrow and my charter on Thursday to another day. But Friday, it's going to be fishable.
A little better, yeah.
It's not going to be great, but it's not going to be terrible. I think Friday's going to be probably one of the better days this week.
Yeah. I got a double tomorrow, actually, so I'll be ducking out of the wind tomorrow.
And Pam, you got Thursday's brutal and it's your day off, so you ain't going nowhere, girl.
Yeah,
especially on the kayak.
Well, you could go really fast. Put a little sail up.
That's right.
Yeah. Thursday. Actually, it was supposed to be Wednesday was supposed to be the brutal day, and everything shifted a day. Now Thursday's just, the whole day is brutal. It ain't like just a little bit. It's the whole day.
If you look at it, Thursday is going to be blowing all day long,
yep.
30 miles an hour and gusting even more.
Yep.
So if anybody's going to go out, please be careful. It's not worth getting hurt.
I wouldn't go out on Thursday.
Yeah, you're taking a big gamble. And I've got something here I want to read because this is normal. And I've been trying to find some of this stuff, but it's called it's called the Great Red Snapper Count, a costly disappearing act. And it's about a page long, but I think it really we should know about it. It says in 2016, Congress appropriated $9.5 million for a state-of-the-art study to determine the true population of red snapper in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep.
Fed up with years of turmoil and controversy over federal mismanagement of red snapper, Alabama Senator Richard Shelby spearheaded the extraordinary step of funding an assessment completely independent of NOAA Fisheries, the agency in charge of managing the nation's marine resources in federal waters. The $9.5 million was combined with a $2.5 million in matching funds for a total of $12 million. The study was led by the Harty Research Institute for the Gulf of Mexico Studies, housed within the Texas A&M University at Corpus Christi, and conducted by 12 leading marine science institutes in more than 100 of the top sciences around the Gulf and beyond, known as the Great Red Snapper Count. The assessment used cutting-edge science and techniques to create the first true census and absolute abundance of the snapper population. It took roughly 2 years to do the science and about as long for the results to work through an intensive scientific review process. Okay, the Great Red Snapper count was finalized in 2021 and found a red snapper population that was at least 3 times larger than NOAA estimates.
Yep.
The conclusion was that was considered extremely conservative by the researchers involved in the assessment. It was hailed as an eye-opening achievement and cast serious doubt on the assessment techniques used by NOAA and the regulations that were based on previous assessments. When it was released, Senator Shelby said via Twitter that he was proud to have led the efforts in Congress to fund the Great Red Snapper count. He added hopefully that this data would allow for more red snapper fishing opportunities in the Gulf. NOAA pledged to take the findings of the CRSC and incorporate it into their next assessment of red snapper, which was scheduled to begin in 2021. While it would have been reasonable to expect results of the GSC to simply become the new benchmark, NOAA insisted that those findings would have to be calibrated and synced up with the data streams and techniques it had used in the past. The same data and streams and techniques that the CRSC has shown to be inaccurate by a factor of at least 3. All right, in January 2024, 8 years after Congress funded the study and 3 years after it was finalized, NOAA announced that it was unable to produce a viable stock assessment for red snapper, the most studied species in the Gulf Reef complex. Turns out NOAA's red snapper stock assessment model more than a stunning 2,900 parameters, each with its own level of uncertainty and bias. The model simply cannot stand its own weight due to the model's remarkable instabilities. Reviewers recommended not including the findings from the Great Snapper count at all. And currently, the 12 million independent study funded by Congress and championed by Senator Shelby is gathering dust on the shelf at NOAA. Anglers seem to no changes in management of the fishery. Can you believe that?
Yep. Now, and that's the one, I'm pretty sure that's the one that where NOAA got pulled into court, or there's another study that also showed that the findings were there was much more red snapper, and NOAA got pulled into court. I don't know if it was over this study or another one, but they got pulled into court because the findings were so much different. And I actually got to watch some of that court footage, and that judge was really chewing NOAA up because one of the studies they did was they were dragging nets to try and catch red snapper. Well,
how do you drag nets to catch red snapper?
You can't, and that was the point where it was a college that was funded by the government, and I don't know if it's the same one you're talking about, but they got funded and they bought all kinds of high definition underwater cameras, and they went out and they took footage. And then when they found them, because, like you're saying, red snapper on reefs and rock piles and stuff like that, you can't drag nets. Yeah, if you drag a net around the outside edge, you might get some, but that's not going to really tell you.
The snappers are usually, you find them in 85 feet, 90 feet of water, 100 feet of water. How are you going to drag nets in 100 feet of water?
Yeah. So these guys, they took this underwater footage, and then when they found, good schools of the red snapper, then they hook and lined like 30 fish to get the average size fish in that school. Then they took, because the underwater cameras were video, then they would still shot a school of them, and they blew the picture up like as big as a wall and counted how many fish were on each rock pile, different rock piles that they went to. And their findings were so much better than what NOAA was saying. So NOAA got chewed out in this courtroom about.
But it doesn't matter. They still do what they want.
I know. And they got fined. They actually got fined and everything else because of basically a waste of taxpayers' money that you're not getting good assessments. And here a college goes out there. It ain't like underwater cameras are brand new. Right. Why aren't they doing that?
And here's the whole thing why that upsets me is that, when years ago when the kingfish stuff was going on in the 70s, I went to a bunch of the meetings, me and a bunch of the captains. And you got to the point where you knew that they said, yeah, we want your input. And you get all these captains up there and telling them
Right.
about the kingfish and how they were, how, you know, these long netters were getting rid of them and getting so many, how many were going to the bottom. There's even a couple of captains from the Keys, I never forget, that had gone to the dry-toed Tugas right after the big net boats came by. And you could see hundreds and hundreds of kingfish on the bottom, because kingfish are just like shark. Once they get in a net and they can't move, they die. So
Okay.
all these were falling off these
Right.
nets, and they were showing them to Noah. You know, look at here. This is outside the dry tortugas. Look, there must be 2,000 dead kingfish on the bottom after these netters came through. You know, oh, we want your input. We're going to take your input. You know what?
Deaf ears.
When they went in there, they already knew what they were going to do. It's just to make you feel good. This is my opinion.
Right.
You go to a lot of these meetings. Oh yeah, we want your input. Let me tell you, they already know what they're going to do. They just want you to feel good. Oh, I got my chance to speak out. They listen to me. Yeah, they listen to you, but they already know what they're going to do. They don't care.
Well, that's like, are you getting the phone calls or the emails or even in mail where FWC is asking you, you know, what you caught last week? Yeah. No, they're still calling me.
Okay.
And I don't, you know, it's like, no, it's all right. I don't want to tell you where I'm catching my fish, or, you know, it's like, I don't want to, it's like, you guys don't do enough for to keep the conversation where it's like, I don't know. I just don't see it. You know, you've had people at the docks for years taking all the information, and then like you said, you don't really see the difference being made.
I remember after the red tide, I got called. I'm sure you got called. A lot of the captains got called about the redfish. What's your opinion as a guide? Do you think we should close redfish? I said, yes, we should close it for about 2 years and let it restock itself. We lost a lot of redfish because of that red tide.
Did you get the questionnaire too that they sent you that time?
Nope.
During that time?
They just talked to me and asked me about, you know, what I thought, my opinion. Oh, we value that. Yeah, we're going to do that. And you know what? They already knew it, because 2 weeks later, oh, we're going to keep it open. Come on, guys. You know, I don't know.
Well, let's get on a better subject then. At least
let's get into some good positive stuff.
Well, like I said, trout's definitely coming back to life. And I've been catching them in different areas, different spots in the bay, down by Pinellas Point, over by Gandy. I mean, it's nice. I'm seeing the variety of places where it's holding trout. North end of Weed Island, south end of the Weed Island, right in the middle of Weed Island. So it's because it used to be, it was hard to find trout for a little while there after all that bad water had come through. And now, tons of thread fins up in the bay, white baits. There's some white bait trickling on the flats here and there. And, you know, just a little bit of everything. Only thing I'm still concerned about, there's areas, you know, north that, you know, you're catching more reds. There's some at Whedon, but they're not everywhere like at Whedon or Picnic Island where they should be by now. You know, I definitely am still seeing a lack of quantity. Yes, some people are going to say, oh, I'm catching 20 reds, but it's not like that everywhere. Like there's typical spots where we should be catching 20 reds a trip, and you're not.
I'm making a note here and you know, this year though, remember we did a couple of shows around Tarpon and north and south, and there's a lot of trout out there, and they were all nice trout.
Yeah.
So they are coming back.
Yeah. Yep. And then, Jim, definitely. It's just, there's no doubt. Yeah. Yes, there's areas that are holding reds, but like I'm saying, there used to be Weed Island. There used to be 3 main big schools of reds that you could get on every day. And then if you fished inside, you would catch your pods of like 2, 3, 4, 5 fish. So, I mean, you didn't even have to be on the school and you would get them. And I was getting on some reds, but lately I've been seeing a lack of them in the areas I'm going to. And, you know, like, and even with the snook too, like we've caught some keeper size snook and reds recently. And I've explained, you know, I say to the clients, you're allowed to keep this. I said, it's a legal fish to keep. I said, but this is big enough to breed. I said, we got a lack of fish. And I'm telling you what, 8 out of 10 clients,
They'll tell you, yeah, let them go.
they'll let it go. Yep. This week we caught three keeper snook, and nobody kept any of them.
My thing is, I tell everybody, if you're going to eat them for sure, positively, and you want to keep one, I don't have a problem. But if you're thinking you might not, or you're thinking about giving it to a neighbor, think of it that next time you come out here, you want that fish to be able to breed and have more babies so
Right.
you can catch more snook. And, you know, most of them are very good about that. Yeah. No problem.
And then I had like one of my lady clients, end of the day, she caught a redfish, and she hadn't had redfish in a long time, and she wanted blackened redfish, so she was going to keep it. And then she said something about freezing it, and I cringed. I said, wait a minute. I said, if you're going to keep this, I said, if you freeze it, you're going to wreck it. She goes, well, we can't eat it tonight. I said, I'll fillet it for you. You put it on ice inside your refrigerator, and then you can have it tomorrow. I said, you don't have to freeze it. She goes, oh, I didn't know. So that's what she did, and she ate it the next night.
Oh, you know, if you're going to have to freeze it for about a week, you freeze it in milk.
I've heard different. Yeah, I like using the vacuum sealer. That works for me.
But if you don't have a vacuum sealer, the lactic acid in milk will really preserve the fish.
Yeah.
You know, any fish, once you freeze it for a certain amount of time, it's not going to taste good. But you can actually freeze some for about a week or so in milk, thaw it out, and it's really good. Or like you say, I got a vacuum seal machine. If I'm going to eat something and like mackerel, you know, mackerel, I bring it home. It's filleted. I smoke it, and Irene makes that smoked mackerel spread and puts it in a little Tupperware bowls. Every day I come in from fishing, I take one of those little Tupperware bowls with crackers and Tabasco sauce.
Yeah,
and I love it that way. But it's fresh.
Yeah.
Trout does not freeze well. I don't care what you do. Vacuum seal it. Trout is not.
It's a softer meat.
It's not that good.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things we were talking about trout back in the 70s and 80s, the middle grounds right there in Gandy, that was the place.
That was easy.
To catch trout. It was easy. You just anchored up and started with dead shrimp, live shrimp with jigs. It don't matter. And you could sit there and catch 30, 40, 50 trout every day.
Yeah. When I was fishing back then, when I was fishing tournaments back then, you know, we would go out there with the jigs because it was quicker, and you'd make contact with the bottom with the jig. I mean, like you're saying, it was nothing to catch 40 or 50. And if you went on those outside edges where it was deeper, you were getting some really nice size ones. And quite a few of the tournaments I won, that's where the trout came from, was the middle grounds.
From the deep water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right on the edges of the drop off.
Oh, yeah. And big ones.
You know, things change over the years. We know that.
Yep.
Overall, I agree with you. I see a good movement towards a good trout season, and maybe that's something good.
Yeah. And if, you know, if they don't mess with our bay and they leave things alone and they don't dump water in there or any of that, with what I'm seeing with the trout next year and the year after, especially, we're going to be seeing a lot of good sized trout. You know, they made the slot, you know, 1 inch shorter. So that's going to leave more breeders. And now it's only 1/19 per boat,
which is good.
Yes,
it's good. And, you know, let's get Bucky Goldman's fishing report in.
All right, yeah, he's got some nice fish on that one.
Yeah, let's see.
Morning, Captain Bucky Goldman, Bag and Fishing Charters, Tampa, Florida, FishingGuide.com. So this was a roller coaster of a week for me. I had 4 trips I ran. Tuesday started off great with Cindy and Josh. They fished with me last year. Josh just loves fishing. He's 15 years old. Bait was such a struggle. I had to throw the net so many times, and I really hurt my shoulder. So with that being said, south wind kept the tides up a little bit. We were able to get into one spot. We started and we were fishing a little bit. Wasn't really catching anything for the first like 30, 40 minutes. And then Josh was like, I just want to catch 1 redfish and 1 snook. And I'm like, all right, if that's your expectations, you know the fish are going to bite now. When people come out with high expectations, it always seems like the fish are difficult. But when they're just out there to have a good time, the fish just seemed to want to chew. We got into some really nice redfish, got some bunch of snook. I think we got 5 or 6 nice redfish, a couple up to close to 30 inches, some really nice snook, bounced around for a few spots. So it was really a fun day. Thursday, ripping wind, northwest wind. I went, had a mom, a dad, and 2 little kids, 7 and 9 years old, and I was like, we can reschedule. And they're like, no, it's our only day. And the kids just really want to go. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I went and spot some shrimp. And then I was like, well, I have an hour to blow. I'll try to get it at the bridge and just, stay safe and not throw the net a bunch. And I was chumming a little bit, wasn't getting it. I wasn't really marking it. And then I got to these one pilings and there was just a whole bunch of debris flowing by it. And I'm just like, you know what? I bet if I throw on top of all this crap and get 1,000 leaves and mangrove seed pods and I'll get bait. And sure enough, I started chumming it and I threw and I pulled up like 300-400 baits, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But it was mixed in with like 10 pounds of leaves and all sorts of stuff. I was just like, you know what? Let's just try it. And why? Why does that work? I don't know. But it was so windy, ripping, and the water levels were so low. We had to hide in the creeks, and it was a really tough day. I did see some tarpon rolling around, so that was kind of cool. Couldn't get them to eat. We caught some ladyfish, caught a ton of catfish, and got 5 nice little reds. Most of the reds actually came on the shrimp, so it was a real fun day. The kids had such a good time, and those catfish kept those kids busy, so that's always a blessing. We all hate catfish, but little kids, they don't really care what they're catching. Then I had a event out of fins for Lottie Rogers, and when I said I'm buying bait, went and bought bait, launched at Williams, ran over to Whedon, bought bait from Dustin, came back to pick my 3 ladies up, and it was a species event, and I put it out, went to a spot. It took me 2 seconds to get there, and we had a redfish right off the bat. Ended up catching a bunch of snook and moved to another little spot that I was unaware of. Got a bunch of snook. We could have kept catching snook, but they're like, come on, we want to go catch other species. Went on the outside of cockroach, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. We had our 3 nice trout. They were 16 to 18 inches. Then we bounced around, caught a bunch more snook. It was great. And then yesterday, went, bought bait, picked my guys up, trying to plan out for higher water, fished 9 different spots and caught 5 snook all day. Saw a few reds, no kitties, no ladyfish. It was such a struggle. It was just, I don't understand how it could get so hard sometimes. But, I just kept positive, and, it's an entertainment game when you're out there. And as long as, you're not showing your frustration and letting it affect the attitudes and the moods of your clients, then, all around it's good. I got a good tip. They still said they enjoyed their time. But, they're older guys. They know how fishing goes. They're going to do a bunch of charters out of headwaters for bass and out of the East Coast for offshore and all sorts of stuff. So, anyways, looking forward to getting out here. Got some weather coming in. I had to move my Thursday trip to Saturday. And then I have Sergio's event on Friday, so it's going to be a little windy, a little choppy, but looking forward to getting out there. Give me a call, Captain Bucky, Golden Bag and Fishing Charters, Tampa, Florida, fishingguide.com.
Thank you, Bucky.
All right, nice job. You had some nice fish in that.
Yep, everybody's have to struggle to catch some fish right now.
Yeah.
But hey, if you stay at it, you'll catch a few. But like you say, it's funny. You might go out one day and get 10 or 15 or 20, and the next day get 5, and you better be happy with it.
Yeah, and he made a key point. People just want to be out there. Yeah, everybody wants to catch a lot of fish, but if you keep the attitude positive on the boat, they'll have a good time.
And that's where the entertainment part comes in.
You are the entertainment.
You better be able to entertain them when things are real slow.
Yep.
But let's get Mike Haynes on.
I was going to say, Rolando said, I went out today. Bad idea. Lunar eclipse, no fish. Not even catfish. Come on,
Rolando. I know you caught a few cat. Don't lie. Let's get Mike Haynes on there.
All right. Hey, Christian. don't know if that.
Here we go.
Yeah, Christian's saying hello to us.
Yep. Hello, Christian. And let's get Mike Haynes.
Hey guys, Captain Mike Haynes here, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. Just wanted to thank everybody who was able to come out and support our event this past Saturday. We're Fishing Crystal River group on Facebook, along with Let It Ride Marine up there in Inglis, Florida. We had a great time. Bunch of fun with talking with people, meeting new people, talking with vendors in the fishing industry, along with many of the local businesses who support the fishing industry in our area. It was a real good Saturday. Had great weather. It was just fun, and I'm looking forward to next year, hopefully bigger, and see a lot more people. Fishing has been excellent up here. The waters are warming up. The fish are very active. The snook are coming out of the backwaters, and there have been reports of numerous big schools in the clearer waters on harder bottom. Fishing them on artificials and bait, catching them quite easily almost. If you get on a good school, it's just one right after the other. It's been quite amazing. It's kind of glad the winter doldrums are done and fish are really active. Redfish, again, still in the shallows along with the snook, just pitching them under mangroves. Live fish, live bait seems to be the real key. Still catch them on artificials, of course, some flukes, some jigs, and top waters. They're just about everywhere is the best way to describe it. Trout have been kind of off just a little bit from the last post I made a couple weeks ago. Seem to be a little warmer waters. I think they're backing off just a little bit, still slowly moving out a little farther onto the flats, but they're still out there and still catching some decent sized trout when you do find them. Limits are pretty easy to come by. You have to read through some of the small ones first, but the limits are definitely there. People have been out searching for cobia. Been reports that some cobia are out on the rocks right now, so if you get a shot, nice calm water, you can go hunt for them. I do know that have caught a few grouper in shallow water, and I know we can't keep them, but it's always fun to pick on them a little bit and catch a couple. And they're mostly catching those on live pins up in the rocks and stuff like that. Mackerel are still roaming out there quite a bit. Still catching them out there on the channels along the river area. Been seeing some big schools of those. I have seen a few tarpon come rolling through. We jumped one the other day. It was quite fun and exciting for my client, using very, very small rods and very light tackle. So there was no way we're going to get it to the boat, but it was fun to watch and fun to jump. So y'all have a good week, and we'll see you next week. This is Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters, Crystal River, Florida. Thanks.
And thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks a lot. Good
All right.
report.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, we had a good trip with him. And then, well, this week, I think Holta's putting it in over the weekend. I don't know, sometime this week. It's episode 7 that we did with Captain Frankie Gonzalez, fishing Bayport. And the footage is beautiful. I mean, the water was so clean with the drone.
Yeah.
And you know, we really wanted to do grouper, but the grouper didn't want to cooperate that day, but we caught a little bit of everything, and we wind up having a good day and a lot of fun on the water.
Yeah.
So don't miss that show. It's
that
episode
water.
7.
Yeah, that water. Yeah, that water up there is always so clear. You think you're going to bottom out. It's so clear.
It's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
You see Rolando's comment?
Yeah.
Not even a catfish. I'm good at catching catfish.
He is. He's an expert. Let me tell you, he can go to an area that nobody can catch a catfish, and he'll catch one.
Well, when that Father's Day catfish ever returns, that tournament they used to do, we'll get on Rolando's boat.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Hey, we'll win.
Thanks
Thanks for tuning in, Rolando. We appreciate it.
And everybody, thanks for watching and sharing.
We really thank you, and just share it and keep telling everybody, because that's what's making everything grow for us. Well, let's, George, the other, we're talking about how good it's been for trout around Fort DeSoto. It sounds like to me, Fort DeSoto is coming back to life slowly, because, after that red tide, it
was
almost came to a
dead.
standstill.
It was dead. It really
Yeah.
was.
I mean, places I used to go catch grouper behind these docks all the time, and sheephead and
Yeah.
mango snapper
Yep.
and redfish. Couldn't
Snook.
even get a bite. Didn't even
Yeah.
see a fish on the pallets.
Yeah, after that happened, I went down there myself and I didn't even really fish that much that day. I just kind of troller motored and scouted around, and I didn't even spook a fish. Usually you'll spook a trout or a red, out from the grass. And I went there a couple times after that red tide finally cleared out, and God, there was just nothing. And then last year, towards the end of last year, I went down there, and I'll tell you, the bait was on the flats, thick as could be. It was really good to see. There was trout, a little bit of redfish, a little bit of snook. So it's definitely coming back. So I can't, because that's a great.
That's what we need. And I hope
Yeah.
Piney Point doesn't start spilling again, because that
I
will
know.
start the whole process
I
all
know.
over again.
Well, and then they're pumping that water under the aquifer, and I'm waiting to. We're going to hear something bad that comes from that to the drinking
Eventually,
water.
it's gonna happen.
To the drinking water, without a doubt. But that's what was great. I've had trips that I intentionally went out of Fort DeSoto when it was brutally windy, because you could get out of the wind. You got the boat ramp right there. You could catch bait right there and fish right there.
Right.
And it was a good spot. And then that red tide killed that area.
I mean, tarp, the calf and the cow, always nice redfish
Oh yeah.
in the spring. And tarp and key was fantastic on redfish for years.
And the trout fishing there, that was a trout heaven over there.
All those potholes, the old bomb holes,
Oh yeah.
you get loaded with trout in the winter.
And that's all you had to do is jump from pothole to pothole, till you found the right one. And then when you found the right one, you could pull 50 out of one spot.
But that red tide did have a big effect.
Yeah.
And well, let's see. Let's get Tony Franklin in,
Okay.
so we don't have to rush.
All right, Captain Tony Franklin back once again with this week's fishing report. This week we've had once again a big difference in weather conditions as the week played out. We've had windy weather, we've had cooler weather, we've had rainy weather, so we've had all types of different weather, which causes all types of different fishing conditions, and as each day is different, you have to adjust to the fishing conditions. So let's get into the report. Trout bite has still been really good. 6 feet of water. Look for your heavier grass, greener grass. If you find a spot, mark it with your GPS so that you can get back to it, so that you're sitting on the grassy areas, not the sand. We've been catching silver trout, or they call them sand trout. We've also been catching spotted sea trout, quite a few of those, although some of them have been on the smaller side. It's been great action. Also mixed in with this once again are the bonnethead sharks. The bonnethead sharks have moved in. They are biting really well on shrimp. They will eat scaled sardines, but they're finding the shrimp a little bit better right now. So they're eating the baits well. We're also catching a few Spanish mackerels. We're catching a few black-tip sharks also. There's been action with ladyfish in some of the same areas. In the backcountry areas near the docks, we're catching some snook on whitebait. We're catching a few redfish, but the redfish bite has been off a little bit for where I've been fishing this week. We've had some mangrove snapper in the bay. They're primarily around some of the mangrove areas and some of the residential docks, so we had good action there. Some action on small black drum, not any large ones, but the small black drum bite's been good on shrimp. There's been ladyfish around for action. We've also caught quite a few hard-fighting Jack Crevalles this week. So we've had a lot of different action. We've just had to adjust the areas we fish to try to get out of the wind. And so as the wind dies down, the conditions are going to get a little bit easier. But we've been dodging rain and all kinds of different things. So the key is when you're out there, just make your adjustments. Try to get spots out of the wind, make your adjustments for the wind to try to stay out of that. And it's just some days it's been too windy, you just can't go out. But a lot of times you can always adjust your fishing situation to the wind and get out of it and make it work for you. So get out on the water, catch you some fish. That's my report for this week. Tight lines, and I'll see you next week.
All right.
Nice
Thank
job,
you, Tony. Yeah, he's. Last week he didn't get to go out, so the week before, So he got
Right.
out in a few days last week, and he got us a good report.
Yeah.
We're going to have your report now coming up, and
Um,
because at least you're getting out more than a lot of the people.
yeah, I've been really busy. So, and it's been a challenge, but you touched on the wind. You can get out of the wind, but you can also use the wind to your advantage. Sometimes when the wind is blowing around a point or blowing between a little creek or something like that, it will actually push bait because it's moving water, and you get what I call a false current from the wind. And a lot of times that'll stack up some fish in an area like that. So if you see that kind of situation, use the wind to your advantage. You might be able to catch a few fish that way.
So,
And did you want to show the magazines?
yeah, we gotta. Don't forget, guys. Make sure that you pick up your onshore, offshore magazine and your coastal angler magazine. They're both free. There's a lot of good stories in there. George writes for them. I write for them. They got a lot of other local captains and all over the place. And try to support the people that advertise in those magazines, because that's what keeps them going and makes them free. And it helps everybody. Helps
Yep.
us,
Yep.
helps you, and helps the guy that's putting magazines together. So Coastal
Yep.
Angler and Onshore, Offshore, they're both good. They're local right here. You're going to get some real good stories, good information from it. And also watch the product review every month that we do
Right.
on there for Lee Fisher Sports. Every month we show a new product that they came out with, and you'd be surprised. That floating net is out on this month's magazine on Onshore, Offshore. And I tell you what, how many times people wish they had a floating net when they bump 6, 7, 8 feet of water and can't see it. If
that's
the water's clean, you can try to drag it. But
Right.
in the summer, that water, 7, 8 feet of water, you don't see the bottom.
Well, that's like, the small D hooker,
Uh-huh.
the little small one. Well, I was walking past my live well with it, and I bumped my hand. It fell out of my hand. It fell on the live well, and that thing floats. I was like, I am so glad that thing floats. And I didn't have to sit there and dig around in the live well looking for it.
And just think if it would have fallen over the side.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
Back.
I've lost a couple of D hookers that were the stainless steel type that have no kind of float handle or anything
Oh, yeah.
on it. And I've had it like under my armpit doing something, and it slipped out. And of course, it hits the top of the gunnel. It's got a 50-50 shot of bouncing in or out every time it went out.
Bounces out. Yeah. All right,
Captain
well,
Anthony.
let's get your report in.
Okay, Captain Anthony just signed on. How you doing, Captain Anthony? Hey guys, this is Captain George Hastic coming to you from downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. Well, the whitebait is definitely the key right now. That, and I'm also throwing artificials for the trout. The little P&V and opening night. Here, I've got some right here to show you. Opening night glow with a lime truce tail. That's it right there. That's been working really well for me. I'm throwing it on a 1/8 ounce to a 1/4 ounce jig head, just like that right there. And the trout have been anywhere from 13 to about 19 inches, depending on depth of water, it seems like. The other main thing I've been targeting a lot of is the snook. Snook, as long as the water is moving, the bite has been on. You've got to work at it. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to park in one spot for the most part and catch 30 or 40 of them. You're going to have to move around a little bit, work the tree lines, work those mangroves. The key is basically, like I said, moving water and presentation, getting that bait, close to the tree line, if not under the tree line, and that'll get you the strike from the snook. Redfish have been thin in the areas that I'm fishing. I mean, I have a few areas that are holding some reds, but I have not been fishing, and also I'm trying to stay away from the crowd, so I'm not been fishing areas that are holding like a lot of reds. We're getting some, but snook is the main thing I've been targeting. I've also been playing around in some of the rock piles when the wind will allow me to get out to them, and we've been getting black sea bass to 14.5 inches, mangrove snapper. So that's been a nice little bite. Some catch and release gag grouper, and some undersized red grouper. So a good little mix of fish. There's been some jack crevalles, This week we even caught a barracuda on the inshore scene, which is kind of cool. But I've really gotten away from the shrimp completely now. I'm not running with shrimp right now. I might have some frozen shrimp with me just in case, but whitebait and pinfish is the main things I'm using, and live and cut. So use them both, 2 different ways. Kind of covers your ground for you. The wind has been an issue, so be careful with that. So if you have to, you might have to switch boat ramps and to go out in a more safer area. If it's too windy, like this Wednesday coming up, it's probably going to be brutal. So we're not going out that day. But there's a lot of canals that, if you guys stay out of the wind, there's a lot of canals that you can fish. There's trout, ladyfish for the kids if they want to have fun with something. There's been some reds and definitely some snook on the dock still. But if it's nice enough, the mangrove tree lines are just holding plenty of snook. You just got to work it a little bit. All right, this has been Captain George Hasek. Have a good day.
Good job, George.
Yeah, so that switched. Originally, it was supposed to be Wednesday was going to be the worst day to where you couldn't go out, and it moved to Thursday. So actually, I am going out on Wednesday now.
Yeah, because
Still gonna
Wednesday was supposed to be, and now they just moved it to Thursday.
Yeah, it's
But
still
of
going
course,
to be windy.
today's only Monday night.
Yeah, I know,
We can change it
right?
again.
I know. Well, let's hope it stays where it's at so that Friday is good. I don't want your tournament getting messed up. Let's
No.
keep it where it's
so
at.
far, it looks like it's going to be fishable. And from what I hear, that's at least I know Dustin told me that he's going to have bait. Now I don't know how he's going to do it.
I know.
Because a lot of the captains were asking me, is the bait guy's going to be selling bait? And I said, I don't know.
That's because Thursday is just looking brutal unless he loads up on Wednesday, maybe Wednesday night, but then that bait's going to be weak by Friday.
Yeah. So because anyway, there's no way you can go out Thursday and catch bait. I don't see how that's going to happen.
I wouldn't want him to be honest with you. I wouldn't want him to. That's just too dangerous.
It's too dangerous. So it might be a day where take a number. Yeah.
No, did you see Donald's comment? We don't need no stinking bait.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, it's the truth. I've caught a lot of fish on artificials, but sometimes, man, when you have clients that don't know how to work a lure, trying to get them to fool a snook into biting, that's a task.
And you got a bunch of people throwing lures all at the same time.
That's dangerous.
That's even worse. That's even dangerous.
You got 3 or 4 on the boat. That's dangerous.
I don't want to take that chance.
But shrimp, cut bait, it all works. I mean, I've done trips with nothing but cut bait in the past when times were tough and have had some phenomenal days.
Well, all I'm hoping is that this El Nino goes away and El Nino comes in pretty quick, and then maybe we might get a nice summer of some pretty calm weather, so we can make up for all the last 6 months of this windy weather.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's made catching bait fun. That's for sure.
I think the good Lord owes us that much, don't you?
Exactly. Donald said Donald says cut lady fish and pinfish work great. They do.
There'll be a lot of people doing that, believe me.
Oh yeah, they do. And threadfin, that's one of my favorites. But pinfish, I'll tell you, redfish love pinfish and threadfin like you wouldn't believe. Ladyfish too, but I would lean more towards the threadfin and pinfish for myself.
Yeah, and when they watch the show that we did with Mike Haynes, we don't want to say how he does it, but that's going to be how he cuts the bait to use it for midfish, and it proved, man, we got a couple of big hunkers out of that.
Yep, I mean, like a lot of times, even like live pinfish, and I've taken them under a cork and put 3 slashes in the side of it. Not enough to kill it, but enough to make some juice come out of it. And I'm telling you what, that's a redfish getter. But cut pinfish on the bottom, just laying there, they'll find it.
Cut for some reason, cut pinfish, ladyfish, mullet, you find them, they use a lot of cut mullet around Pine Island, Boca Grande area. You don't see that much up here.
No.
Up here, there's a lot of ladyfish and pinfish.
Yeah, I like pinfish and threadfin, but what's nice about the ladyfish is you can go to a lot of different spots and catch a couple of ladyfish real quick, and you got bait.
And it's fresh.
Yeah,
That's the way to go.
Key, that's the key too, fresh.
And it looks like we're out of time, George.
Oh, we talk too much.
I know, but we have a good time. Hey, we want to tell everybody thank you. God bless you. And don't forget, tell everybody about our show. Don't forget to tell them about Fishing Adventures Florida on YouTube, Waypoint TV, Carbon TV, Angling TV, Outdoor Action TV, Samsung TV, and Tubi on Waypoint. They got us
To
on.
be or not to be.
That's right. God bless everybody.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a good night.
Thanks for watching.